Hello and welcome to Deborah's Fireside Chat video series. Last September, we checked in with our education team to discuss our school-based service strategies and milestones. Well, a lot's happened in a year, and we wanted our education leaders to tell us what they've been up to when it comes to supporting our students and their families, along with supporting our communities. Today, we are connecting with the following Deborah leaders: President and CEO Carl Clark, Vice President of Educational Services, Jackie Auris, National Director of Student Services, Colleen Katzenmoyer, and National Director of Education Operations, Mike Manchester. Thank you all for being here today.
Happy to be here.
Amy.
So let's get started. Carl, over the last 2 years, Deborah's approach to education has really changed. It's now one of our flagship services. Tell us why we've moved in this direction and what's the benefit for our students and the larger organization.
Yeah, well, this is interesting because in many ways, we've come back to our roots where Helena Deborah started, working with children who had educational needs. So today, with our bringing on Jackie and Colleen, Mike's part of the team, we've really kickstarted our educational services on a national footprint. So we're excited about where we're going, and we're looking forward to the new developments we have across the United States with educational programming.
Thanks so much, Carl. Mike, before we get into specifics, walk us through Deborah's education footprint. For example, how many schools do we have? How many students in school districts do we support?
Sure, Amy. So currently, Devereaux has 15 schools. We are operating in 8 different states. And throughout those 15 schools, we have a wonderful team of over 200 educators who on any given day are working with hundreds of different school districts and state agencies. We, across the course of a school year, will serve around 2,300 students. But on any given day, we are serving around 1,200 students. We welcome new enrollees throughout the year, and students who meet their individualized education plan goals return to their home district after making progress at our Devereaux schools.
Wow, those numbers are incredibly impressive. Thank you, Mike. Jackie, since last year, the education team has taken significant steps in its offerings. What has your team been up to, and what are you working on now?
So, sure, Amy, thanks for the opportunity. I mean, I think first and probably most importantly, we're really just connecting and responding to school districts and specifically their needs around student and student populations. So by doing this, we're also connecting with the families. So we're prioritizing how we can help the students and the families. That can be in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it can be right within the school district, and we're providing supports. Sometimes that might be in the community through community-based instruction and helping students prepare for adult life. And it can also be through separate center-based programming. Devereaux has a long history of providing center-based programming to students, and they've been lifelines for many kids and for many families. For a lot of the students, it's the first time that they've had success in a school environment. You know, it's the first time they've been able to participate in the school culture. And for many families, it's the first time they get positive phone calls about their students instead of problematic phone calls. So we have now been given the opportunity to just expand that footprint and to enhance and continue that work. So this year we've opened up 2 smaller schools. They're located to our sending school district so that we can partner closely with them on their needs. And then we can also partner on helping the students get back to their home programming. We have a lot of structured day school expansion opportunities going on within our existing center, so we can expand our footprint that way too. It doesn't all have to be new and different buildings. And we are making a huge concerted effort to make ourselves available to school districts right within their own walls. And we have the skills and we have the technology now that we don't really have any of the boundaries that we used to have. We can help pretty much any school district anywhere as long as we can hear what those needs are. So we've been busy and it's been really exciting, and we feel really challenged and enthused by it. And one final initiative that I really want to mention, because we're all so proud of it, is in Western Pennsylvania, we're in the process of opening up a real school of excellence. And that school is going to be a comprehensive school that's going to offer step up and step down programming to students in need so that they don't have to go to different facilities or to different providers. It's also going to have a lot of community connections. We want to bring the community right into that school so that our families have access to everything that they might need in order to make their home lives more successful for themselves and for their students. So we consider it a real center of excellence, and we're looking forward to it opening in the next year.
Yeah, it's really exciting. We're blessed to work with Allegheny County, which they're one of the more progressive counties in the state of Pennsylvania, very professionally run, and we're excited to be there. And the ability to co-locate so many services in one facility is really going to be a benefit for the community there.
Thanks, Carl, and thanks, Jackie. I really love how we're working to reach even more families in need and really in more innovative ways. So it's really exciting to hear what's coming down the pike. I want to turn my focus over to Colleen. Colleen, our private schools are just part of Devereaux's education equation. I understand you're also partnering with school districts to provide in-district student services. Tell us what this is all about.
Our private school placements are really just one piece of an ever-expanding national network of ideas, best practices, strategies, and educational solutions. What we know is that educators and school communities are being stretched, challenged, and called upon for more and more support for their students and their families. And within the national landscape of special education are realities that are making it near impossible to answer this call. So while the cost of providing special education services continues to increase, school districts nationwide are experiencing budget cuts that effectively decrease resources when they need them the most. So more recently, Devereaux has had the privilege of growing these partnerships with school districts and public charter schools, to collaborate on cost-effective yet high-value supportive programming provided right there within their school district. So in other words, students don't need to come to us for an out-of-district placement to get the supports that they need. Instead, we're working really hard with school teams to build their internal capacity using modeling, coaching, consultation, sometimes staffing. We have worked with executive leadership teams to identify ways to stretch those resources. We've worked with district-wide teams to review specialized programs. We've worked with building level teams to establish and implement positive behavior intervention systems and specialized curriculum. And we've even worked right in the classroom to support individual students. There's a wide range of student and school community needs, and we want to be the organization that gets called to answer those needs at any point along that continuum.
And Colleen, if I can also add to that list of services, we also provide training, consultation, and product sales to hundreds of school districts, early child care providers, county agencies. Devereaux owns its own proprietary social emotional assessment tool called the Devereaux Early Childhood Assessment, which is one of the two most popular assessments in the country for that age group. We also own our own safety training curriculum called Safe and Positive Approaches, which teaches staff at child serving and adult serving institutions how to appropriately de-escalate and conduct passive evasive maneuvers for individuals in crisis. We have a number of training resources available for both child and adult resiliency, including Building Your Bounce. And then just recently, we have launched a Devereaux portal for trainings that can be accessed online for educators and clinicians that we are going to continue to build out over the course of this year and grant continuing education credits to individuals who need to maintain their certification and licensure. So we're really trying to span across the entire continuum of education services for everything that not only the students need, but also the individuals who work in education programming need in order to stay up to date on all of the latest innovations in the field.
And Mike, not that I'm counting, but I believe that we offer 48 different trainings that are associated with the CEU credits available for folks, online, in person, a variety of delivery modalities. And I often tell Jackie and Colleen that your charge is pretty simple. We have 29 wonderful intermediate units in the state of Pennsylvania. I want Devereaux to be number 30 without the boundaries of being only within the state of Pennsylvania. So they're well on their way to building out what is, I jokingly call IU number 30.
Thank you, Carl. And it's amazing. It's so comprehensive, the amount and number of services that you offer and the amount of students you're connecting with. It's really very, very impressive. Thanks for explaining that. Jackie, you must be extremely proud of everything this team has accomplished in such a short period of time. When you look ahead, what do you feel is the future of education for Devereaux and for our students?
I am very excited and very proud of the whole team and of Devereaux. Everybody rallies around the initiative, and that has made it more successful. I mean, the goal here, from my perspective, is to really have our districts, our community agencies, our state education agencies think of Devereaux first when they think of education. So that might be in a proactive sense, in that districts have anticipated student needs and they want help rolling out a program, or they want help rolling out an intervention. But also think of us when they're really experiencing challenges that they just really need expertise. So we can be a partner for them for all of their proactive initiatives, and we can be a solution for them when they're experiencing their education challenges, especially in areas that are that require a high level of expertise. Like, look, we have here at Devereaux with all of our education and clinical staff. So when I think about the future, I feel like we are setting the initiative up in a systemic way to continue to be able to impact individual lives, family lives, and therefore we're going to be impacting our communities. And so I can't think of anything else that would make me feel like the initiative was successful, more than having happy, healthy communities. We've contributed to that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jackie. And I'd like to close this discussion by asking all of you to answer the same question, which is, what are you most proud of in terms of either what's been accomplished or what has inspired you the most this past year? And I'm going to start with Colleen.
Well, that's an easy one. Over the past 2 years, I've had, just the honor and privilege of witnessing what might seem to others as small steps, but for our students and their families are really giant leaps. None of our students come to us because school has been easy, or that life has been easy. Things have been really hard, and our students and our staff just work so incredibly hard on these small steps. And just being able to see, I was at one of our schools just the other day, and a student who has social skill challenges went up to one of his classmates and said, "How's your day going today?" We've had a young man come to us in Connecticut who had such debilitating school anxiety that he hadn't been to school in about a year. And when we checked in on him the other day, he's getting up every day. He's coming to school. He has friends. We've been able to see graduates, head off to college or head off to gainful employment. And we've had, some of our students do so well that they're headed back to their neighborhood school. And it's always bittersweet when, our students leave us because we think they're the best. But those are really those moments that we don't take for granted. I hope I never take those moments for granted. And they're really, I'm just so proud of them. And it's very motivating to keep going.
Those heartwarming moments are just the best. They make everything worth it. Mike, how about you?
That's a really tough question. We've been up to a lot over the last year. But I'll have to say, while I've traditionally been our person in charge of finance and facilities and IT, I got a real opportunity this year to dig a little deeper into our people operations, and making sure that we have staff in all of our new programming. And people operations is what we at Devereaux, for those outside of Devereaux, that's our evolution of human resources, because we really take a strong focus on our people, and really seeing folks find meaningful and satisfying work in our schools, whether they're educators, whether they're board certified behavior analysts, whether they're registered behavior technicians, and really matching up these staff to a population that they have a strong connection with. You can see it after a couple weeks when they've spent some time on the job of how meaningful this work really is. And I just think that when you get that feeling of fulfillment, you sleep a little sounder at night, knowing that you have made a positive impact in a student's life. So that's over the last year, that's really kind of come to light that as I've gotten to work more on that people operations side.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike. Jackie, what are you most proud of, or what's inspired you the most over the last year?
Well, they both made me think. But I think what I really want to say is, when I get a phone call or I get a request for a meeting and it's with, a new district, and I don't really know what I'm going into in the meeting, and they say something like, well, we heard from our neighboring school district that you helped them, and so can Devereaux help us? We heard from our, sitting superintendents in the county that you were able to do X, Y, or Z, and we're interested in hearing more about that. That's always very satisfying, because the fact that somebody would take the time to, recommend you is a kind of a highest compliment. And then by the same standard, the same situations with parents. If a parent calls and said, we've heard that Devereaux can do this, or we heard that you helped with this, or, having a parent give a recommendation to another parent is, the highest of highest standards. And so then, even if you're having maybe a more challenging day, when you get a call like that, or you go to a meeting like that, you're like, oh, okay, everything's going in the right direction. We're doing the right things for the individuals that we care for and the families.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jackie. Carl, I'm going to close with you.
So I think two things predominantly. One is, in very direct ways, we're really helping to unlock people's potential, right? To fulfill our mission in education. And, for a long time, Devereaux was a large residential provider and did education as an add-on. And now, over the past 2.5 years, we've really focused on education as its own service line that we really have to excel at. And we have such confidence in the leadership of Jackie, Colleen, Mike, and others that we're really making great leaps and bounds forward. So it's really exciting at this part of our history. And I think Helena Devereaux would be ecstatic to see where we've come in the past few years. So.
Yes, she would.
Yeah.
I agree. Carl, Jackie, Colleen, and Mike, thank you for sharing your perspectives, your news about our education team, and for being here with us today. And for all those who work in education at Devereaux, whether you are a teacher, a clinician, a direct support professional, school administrator, thank you for everything you do to unlock and nurture human potential in our students. And if you don't work for Devereaux, what are you waiting for? This is where rewarding careers begin. So look for us online at jobs.devereaux.org. Thanks and have a great day.